All right, if you wanted more confirmation, here it is. Guys, we just had some major news again. Major news. And guess what? What is Composite Man doing? This is like, it's just out of hand at this point, guys. Look, I know the majority of you have been in here, understand how the cycle works, the points of interest. I'm going to get into that in this video because it's all lining up here. And before I start, I just want to say, obviously, this is not financial advice. This is just a different perspective we look at here in the markets using the cycle analysis approach. So we're going to be taking a look at the AMC cycle, the points of interest that we track here every 62 days, and go from there, right? So we've been tracking this fractal here. This fractal is found right here, okay? So it's a fractal because we're changing the size, we're changing the length, and we're making it smaller, all right? I refer to these as fractals. Patterns are just going to be the exact same range. So the window that you're tracking, if I have a pattern I'm just tracking, we're going to be having the same time. We're not manipulating the size or anything. It's just a pattern. And that we use the pattern scanner for that. Those are typically more accurate, but fractals are still accurate and they still play out. As you can see here, we have not only the first initial POI, these are micro points of interest, meaning that the volume that we're experiencing here is very small compared to these macro moves. So what we had in August 2022, March, okay, June, all of these are macro points of interest. They're bigger. Okay, so these are small, but they're still relevant because they are validating the fractal as it keeps playing out. This entire move here has been playing out according to this fractal. You can see here another reason that the media and these catalysts that come out are used to paint this picture, this agenda, right, that we talked about on the last video. So we have the first push, create this cup, second push, and then what happens here? Drop. If you guys have been here for the past couple of years, one of the first things that I posted, this was one of the first streams, was a video on Doge, okay? And we were tracking this fractal here, this pattern on Doge. And I had pulled it up because I was updating it, come up to this range here, and we see a live drop. Like, this is happening live. And it blew my mind because I was like, dude, like, damn, like, this is tracking. It's a way to track the way patterns develop, they play out. Now, because we are entering this point of interest, and this is where I want to be very clear, I don't want to be misleading or anything. These right here, these points of interest are just volatility zones. We're not calling for $16, $10, whatever it is. These are targets that you can look at with price analysis, okay? And that's okay to do as well. I mean, that's the point of the markets, right? We're trying to figure out where a stock could potentially go and develop analysis for that, okay? But these are just volatility zones. So the fact that we are playing out this fractal right now, and it's looking good, it keeps validating as the days come by here. It seems like we're going to get some kind of pressure to the upside if it is a positive move within the next 2 weeks. Okay, so that seems pretty ideal to me. It lines up with the macro POI we're tracking on the market, SPY. Okay, another thing to track here is the market, SPY. I update this every single video I have for the last, I mean, who knows, live videos, all that stuff. But this fractal here, or this is not a fractal, guys. Again, this is a pattern picked up by the pattern scanner. The pattern scanner will track and find patterns similar in the markets that have played out in the past. I believe this one here is from 2019. Okay, so we've been tracking this since December. It's been 4 months. You can see the further you zoom out, the better, right? You don't want to pay attention to the little things going on in between, just the overall direction. And here we can see that the pattern is playing out. It's still calling for 430. And this is the peak in the cycle, in the macro cycle on AMC that we're entering now. This is the peak. Okay, so this is a signal here, is that once all these high volatility stocks and cryptos go, and the market has peaked. So it peaks first. You see all these run. Then that pressure is going to bring everything down with it. Now, at this point, I'm not going to be tracking what's going on right over here, even though this is something that does seem ideal. There's a lot of different things that can happen once POIs are over. So the pattern can still keep tracking, or it can just cut off and die, right? And right here, we don't see anything else happen. But I think this is probably the more likely scenario. I think what this is doing here in the markets is it's basically saying F you to all of these bulls that are coming back in, right? Because now the markets are starting to be a little bit more bullish, which, again, we have been calling for here, short term. But I think once we reach this level, we're going to see the crypto market take a little bit of a breather along with all of these stocks, okay? So with AMC, what this means, okay, is that it's either going to run here and we're going to see a nice push. I would like to see the $10 range. I know we're going to have a reverse split, so you do have to multiply everything by 10 wherever the price goes, along with combining the shares, ape shares. Okay, that's something to consider. But, okay, again, I'm not calling for the same price run here. I know this is misleading, as I can, I'm overlaying this on top, and you want to see this full push. Yes, it can happen, okay, but we're just tracking a volatility zone. All right, I'm going to pull up a different chart here. This is AMC's cycle chart, and this is where you're going to see the cycle. Okay, so I posted this earlier on Twitter. If you don't follow me on there, click that follow button and subscribe, guys. If you haven't subscribed, what are you doing, bro? Okay, subscribe. All right, we have all of these cycle POIs here. Something I mentioned was that all of these points of interest that we're looking at here have only happened in this 13-day window. This is a very small window when you're looking at the macro chart. This is why it's relevant. It's important. Little 13-day window. This happens every 62 days. Okay, so that means that if the markets, okay, on this 62-day window, if you have an opportunity to come back up, this has been 5 out of 5 so far. Okay, all these red ones that you're looking at here, some are inverse, meaning that the price will go down instead. It's still a volatility zone. And some are just flat, meaning that the markets don't have much volatility. Everything is just consolidating. It's trading sideways. You're in periods of distribution or accumulation. These are very small periods in the market, but when you get to the volatility zones, that is where you see an opportunity. And this is what we've been saying every single time. I know this is misleading because most people think that I'm calling for a squeeze or something on these dates, but I'm not. I'm calling for a volatility potential. And that's what we're tracking, guys. It's just a potential. The fact that this fractal lines up with the next volatility zone here on AMC is very bullish to me because we've been tracking every single one here. And this happens to be the next one. And it lines up with the fractals. So this is not a coincidence. I think this is, again, controlled. It's manipulated. And this is what we're looking at. This is what we're seeing here. Okay? Alrighty. Guys, real quick, we do this with the entire market. I do want to talk about some of the things we have been doing here in the Discord. So, for example, AI, one of the big wins we had here on the Discord. These are obviously private. You can see here, this push here was predicted using the same approach that I take on AMC. So we do the same thing and a lot of option trades, stuff like that. Here's Upstart. Very similar setup to GME. Same thing. Got that pressure to the upside. Okay. AMC. Same thing here. Trade sideways. Fell right below that range. Okay, and now we're tracking one very important one as well. And I'm treating this the same way as I would AMC. SDC right now, Smile Direct Club, is another stock that looks very similar to the fractal that we're tracking. Now, this one's bigger. There's a lot more developed here. This is taking a lot longer. So it's a large fractal, but it's showing the same structure right now. You can see even this little hump we have here. That happened on AMC. Now, there's a lot of potential for this, but once you enter this zone, it is dangerous because it can flip. And I know people are like, well, it's a 50-50. You can go up and down. It's a volatility zone. That's what it is. It's supposed to go up or down. Okay? Guys, we also predicted the GME run to a T. You can see here, right before earnings, goes up to that same level we tracked here at 27, gets rejected and trades sideways here on that blue projection. All right? So a lot of ones that we do here, I post these every single week. Here is Bitcoin, okay, developing into what is going to be this next fake out at 31K. That is where I'm looking for a pullback here in the entire market. Okay, so Bitcoin's going to do the same thing. I think we're going to reach that 31, 32K. Then that'll be that liquidity grab, comes back down all the way to that 22K range, and then trade sideways from there. We're going to take a look at the market, see what we got going on. But right now, everything looks great, guys. Again, volatility zone coming up here. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. Post some comments on there. Leave something below. I want some feedback. You guys throw in that feedback. All right? Subscribe. Peace out. I'll see you guys next time.